my name is Quayln Stark. I am the creator behind everything Quo, and today I am coming to you on behalf of Clover Needlecraft to show you how to make these super simple friendship bracelets with the new Friendship Bracelet Maker from Clover. So let's get into it. As far as supplies, you will need the Friendship Bracelet Maker, a beading needle, this is the longest version Clover has, as well as the threader that comes with your needle. You will also need seed beads. These are 40 gauge or size 6. You can go smaller if you'd like. You also need embroidery floss and scissors. First, I cut 6 strands of my embroidery floss at about 1.5 feet. At this point, you want to cut a little bit more than what you would typically need to wrap around your wrist just in case. Then we will begin to thread our Friendship Bracelet Maker. To tie the strands onto the Friendship Bracelet Maker, I first separate them out into groups of 3 strands. Then I will take the first group and tie it onto the back screw on the leftmost side and tighten that down. I then repeat the process with the other 3 strands on the right side. I then separate out all 6 strands evenly among the spaces between the pegs on our loom. Then I will secure the strands onto the screws that are closest to us and we are ready to start beading. I will separate the floss out into its 6 individual strands, and that is what I'm going to use to actually bead our bracelet. Now I will take one strand and begin to thread our needle with it. With the needle threader, I will thread the needle and pull the strands of floss into 2 even sections. I then tie a simple overhand knot at the very end connecting the 2 sections and clip the excess. This will give us a sturdy 2-strand loop that we are now ready to lock onto our loom. To lock our thread in place, I pass the needle under the 3rd strand from the left and pull it almost all the way through. Then I will take the needle and catch the loop of our working thread and pull that through to tighten and secure it. I then weave the needle under and over the next 2 threads to the left just to get it to the left side so we can begin beading. As you see, we have 5 spaces between our threads, so our bracelet will be 5 beads across. I take 5 beads and place them onto the needle in a rainbow pattern, and then I will take the needle and pass it under the 6 strands and pull the beads all the way to the end of our thread. This first row of beads is what spaces out our bracelet, so it's going to be the most awkward to put on, but you're going to separate out the strands and place a bead in between each strand. Once your beads are placed correctly, you're ready to move your needle back to the other side. To do that, you're going to take the needle and pass it through each bead, making sure you're going over the strands that are separating them. I'm working a simple diagonal stripe pattern, so to do that, I take whatever the rightmost bead was on the previous row and bring it all the way to the left. I then repeat the process of the previous row in bringing the threaded beads under the 6 strands and pulling them up to the 6 strands and separating them out in the 5 spaces between. I then again take my needle and pass it through all of the beads, making sure to go over the 6 strands. We're going to repeat this process of beading all the way until we have about 4 to 5 inches of thread left on our needle. Once we are at that point, we are ready to weave our old thread into the work and tie on new thread. I take the needle and pass it through about 3 beads and bring it up through the work. Then I will take the needle and pass it the other direction about 2 beads. I will repeat this process of passing through 2 beads 5 to 6 rows up, then cut the excess. We now will tie on new beading thread in the exact same way that we did previously, going through that 3rd strand and catching our loop, then pulling it tight to secure and weaving it back into the leftmost position. We will continue on with the beading until we get the length we want. We are now at the length that I would like for my bracelet, so we are going to weave in our thread and move on to finishing. To weave in the thread, it is the exact same process as I stated previously, with going through a few beads at a time, up about 5 to 6 rows. Now the bracelet is ready to be finished. My favorite finishing method for these kinds of bracelets is just a traditional 3-strand braid on each corner. Because this has 6 strands, there will be 4 braids. I will take my first section of 3 strands and begin braiding it into a traditional 3-strand braid. I like to braid it about 3 to 4 inches, then finish with an overhand knot. Afterwards, I will take the braid that I just completed and tie it back onto the loom, then take the 3 strands left and braid those into a 3-strand braid as well, trying to make it as even to the other as possible. Now the first side of my bracelet is completely finished. I'm going to turn my loom and do the exact same to the other side. Be sure to tighten the braids that you've already completed back onto the maker before braiding the other side. Here I am now braiding the last 2 braids of the friendship bracelet, and once these braids are completed, then the friendship bracelet will be finished. And here is the finished friendship bracelet. To secure it onto your wrist, all you need to do is take the braids and tie them into a simple square knot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you would like to stay up to date with everything Clover or Quayln, be sure to check the links in the description.